Welcome everybody. Welcome to the SharePoint Framework and JavaScript Special Interest Group. I'm Paolo Pialorsi, and today I will be your host because Vesa is on vacation, and so I'm trying to replace him. Let's start having a look at the agenda for today. We will have a look at the status update for all of the community projects that we have in the area of SharePoint Framework and client-side development. And then we will have two demos, one from Franck Cornu from aequos and one from João Mendes from Create IT. So let's dig first of all into the updates from engineering and from the community projects, and let's have a look at the demos right after. So just as a reminder, we want to remember you that from an SPFx perspective, every sample of web part, application customizer, or provisioning solution will be more than welcome. So feel free to contribute with demos in these calls, as well as with pull requests, submitting your examples, which can become also demos in these calls. Moreover, we have the @PMP demos, which will cover topics related to PMP JS, Office 365 CLI, and SPFx reusable controls, and feel free to contribute there as well. As well as I said, you can feel free to contribute to the community, making pull requests in the GitHub repos that we have, as well as reporting any kind of issues using the issue that we have on GitHub. I will show you really shortly the URL to do that, as well as, if you like, just have a discussion or share your ideas with the whole community using the GitHub repo and these calls. And of course, if you want to provide any kind of feedback, feel free to do that. We are really looking forward to constructive feedback. So feedback about something which is not working properly, but also feedbacks about something which is okay, which is good, and that you like. So as I said, few useful links for your daily job, SPDev docs, where you can find in aka.ms SPDev docs all the official documentation about SharePoint development. Moreover, we have SPDev videos, the aka.ms SPDev videos link, which you can use to browse through quite a lot of videos that we recorded and made available in the PnP community channel, as well as the SharePoint dev issues, which you can find at aka.ms spdev-issues, where you are more than welcome to provide your feedback, your requests, and everything else is needed to improve both the community projects as well as the SharePoint framework by itself, because engineering is looking at these issues list. So if you have any issue, any problem, feel free to submit an item there, and either the product group or the community will try to give you the best support ever. Okay, so first of all, few quick news about what's going on in the SharePoint framework area, and then some other news about the community projects that we run as PnP. First news, there is a new release of the SharePoint Framework Development Training Package, which was released early September this year. So if you go to aka.ms SPFx-training, there you can find slides, demos, and everything you need to provide a whole training about SPFx to your colleagues or to your customers. You don't need to subscribe or sign any license or anything else. Just feel free to download the content, use it, and spread the knowledge about SharePoint Framework in your company and at your customer sites. It's one of the hugest efforts that we have from a training perspective in the fields of SharePoint Framework, and we are really happy to see that there is an update which just came out. Moreover, from a stats perspective, the SharePoint framework, I would say as usual, luckily, but is performing really, really well. In fact, we have a growth in the usage per user as well as in the usage per tenant, as usual, as I said, because almost every bi-weekly call we see that the numbers of SharePoint framework are growing, which is really good because it means that everybody here is investing its own time in the right technology. And we also saw quite a huge growth in the last few days and weeks, which is a really good sign thinking about the future of SPFx. From a roadmap perspective, that's what we can share so far. And as usual, these are information which are subject to change. So they are not written in stones. Be careful. But right now, we have SharePoint Framework 1.9.1, which came out in August. And it is GA now as such. But we are also waiting for SharePoint Framework 1.10, which maybe will come out in September this year, which will have few more improvements, including one of my favorite features in the field of the modern UI from an SPFx perspective, which is the full support for the list subscriptions, because now the underlying APIs are generally available, and so SharePoint Framework will follow them and will make this functionality available in production as well. Moreover, there are some other topics bubbling and under development, like, for example, the capability to use SharePoint Framework to create not only solutions for SharePoint Online, but also for building Office add-ins, as well as there will be content security policies. We, as PnP and Microsoft, is working on making it possible to have CSOM for .NET Standard, and as such PnP JS Core and the PnP provisioning engine for .NET Standard, so that we will be able to use CSOM and PnP from .NET Core as well, which will be a huge improvement as soon as it will be available. And moreover, there will be much more improvements in the area of modern pages support, including some new content extensions for modern pages. There is also some work going on in the area of the app catalog and the deployment area. And there is some work in rebuilding or upgrading the lookbook templates, both from a design perspective as well as from a provisioning service perspective. And moreover, the provisioning service in the near future will have a renewed UI, which you will be able to use to automate the provisioning of the lookbook templates and of other packages, like, for example, the SP Starter Kit onto your own environments. Our SPFx initiative is really, and the PnP initiative is really working well and moving on, which is really good. What about PMP JS and the client-side library for SharePoint Framework, and not only for SharePoint Framework? Well, PMP JS is growing as well. We had a new release in August 16 with some fixes and some new features, and there is a continuous working on the version 2 of the PMP JS library. And for sure, we need to be really thankful with the community, and especially with Julie, Simon, David, and all the other people which are highly contributing to this project. You can find more information at https://pnp.github.io/pnpjs. And you can eventually tweet about or read about tweets related to the PMP JS library, searching for the hashtag PMPJS or following Patrick at Mediocre Bowler in Twitter. What about Office 365 CLI? Well, from an Office 365 CLI perspective, here we have some other news as well. So version 2.0 is out. There was an announcement also yesterday on the Office Dev Twitter account. We are now in the beta release version 2.1.0 for the Office 365 CLI, which includes, as usual, much more improvements and functionalities, like, for example, the capability to remove Microsoft Teams channels, the capability to retrieve the URL of the content type hub, if anybody is still using that one, I would say, and to create Power Up components and stuff like that. So if you want to use it or to give an eye to it, npm install -g to install it globally, at pmp/office365-cli at next to get the beta version of Office 365 CLI. If you just want to use the current version, you can just skip the @ next and get the latest release from there. SPFx. From an SPFx perspective, PnP has been working on the reusable component for a while now, and we are already improving and always improving the reusable SPFx controls. Now we have version 1.15.0, which is out nowadays, and which includes some new controls, like, for example, a file picker, a grid layout, and a carousel control. And as you can see here, we again need to say a huge thank you to all the contributors which contributed to this latest release of the reusable controls. Hugo, Robert, Piotr, Alex, and one guy who has an hidden name, so PFC2K8, which is clearly not a real name, but a GitHub alias. You can find much more information at the following links, and please take a look at the reusable controls because they really improve the quality of your life as a developer. From a community Yeoman generator perspective, the project which was started by Stefan and which is now supported with the contribution of the whole community, we have some news there as well. We have the version 1.9.1 released, so that we are aligned with the latest release of SharePoint Framework, and there we have the capability to upgrade to 1.9.1 solutions. We have support for Angular v6, 7, and 8. And of course, some other capabilities which are included in the list that you can see here, like support for Vue, for Office UI Fabric, 5.x, 6 or 6.x Fluent, and so on and so forth. Again, if you want to give an eye to this solution and to this package, just do npm install-g at pnp/generator SPFx and change the way you generate and you scaffold your SharePoint Framework solutions, improving it, of course. So that said, after this quick overview of all of the news that came out in the last 15 days, it's time to spend some time having a look at some great demos. So the very first one is from Franck Cornu from aequos, and it's about building modern search center using the open source search solution. Franck, feel free to steal the screen. Yep.
Okay, so hi everyone. So my name is Franck Cornu. I'm an Office 365 developer working for my own company based in Montreal, Canada. And today I will show you the latest update for the modern search solution since the August release, which was a big release actually. So I will cover, I will not cover the entire solution, but only the updates. A quick recap of what is this solution. It's a set of web parts around SharePoint search, mainly to fill the gap between the modern search experience and what we had in the classic SharePoint search experience regarding the search web parts. So basically you have search result web parts, search box, refiners, and so on. So first of all, for non-developers, you can get the latest release from the GitHub repository, the SPDev solution. So download the package and you can install in your app catalog. And if you want to contribute, you can just fork and make PR in this repository. So let's start with the update. So I have set up a search page here, and so the first update we've made, all the updates are mainly in the search result web part. So the first update we made is more a practical update. Instead of, before you had to select your selected properties from the search manually, so you had to type the search properties, the managed properties. Now you have a predefined list of managed property. You can select your own managed properties. So not every properties are listed here. So in the case you use, for example, aliases for managed property, you can just type your property. For instance, I think I have a property named PnP severity, something like this. So I can add it to the list, and it will be something here. Here you go. So you can add your own managed property in this list. So more practical update than a real big update. The big updates are mainly around the templating layout. So basically it all started with a GitHub issue around the templating mechanism for this web part. Maybe you know this web part is heavily built on Handlebars, which is a templating framework, JavaScript templating framework. So the main issue was with Handlebars. Handlebars is cool, but it became difficult to get the same experience as the Office UI Fabric's native components only with Handlebars. You have either to customize your CSS classes inside your template, for instance, to write your own classes, emulate the Office UI Fabric styles, which can be very difficult, or you had to use another feature, which is the code renderer, so completely rewrite the experience using pure React components. So it was a major issue, I think, because of this behavior, the CSS classes and the React components. So in this release, I think we found the middle ground between Handlebar templates and React components. So before digging into the code and how we did it, we'll just go through all the new layouts we've added to this web bar. So the first one, I think it's the coolest one, is the detail list. So the detail list basically is this is the Office UI Fabric detail list that you can see when you browse the components on the Office UI Fabric website. And basically, it allows you to view your data, your search data in the tabular view. But the thing is, you have now some template options. So we've added some options in this view. For instance, you can choose to display the icon or not, or to run the compact your table in compact mode and so on. But the big update on this one is the column builder. So the column builder will allow you to create your own column, obviously, and configure the behavior of your columns. So for instance, you will choose the column display name, the column value. The column value is basically a managed property you can use. So you can use the row value of the managed property. For instance, here I use the title. I have some other options, the width of the column, the height, little typo here. Some options, it is sortable, resizable, multi-line, and so on. So I can choose, for instance, to basically to customize my experience, and I add my own column. So let's say I want to add my column I have added before. To the list, I think I have. No multi-line and so on. So I can add my own column on the fly. So I can build my my experience to meet my requirements. But as you can see here, I took an example with a raw value of the search results. As you can see, here's the last modified column, the last modified managed property. As you can see, the output is not really nice. It is the raw value, so not very very nice. So the thing we can do now is, instead of use the raw value of the managed property, we can use an handlebar expression. So let's say I want to update this column value. I want to click here, and I can pass an handlebar expression here. So all the handlebar helpers are available here. So last modified time. Yep. The format here, and yeah, I think it is. Yeah, and I can do something like this. So it allows you basically to format the inputs the way you want, and not only the value, but also you can add also conditions and so on. Another example, let's say I want to change the background regarding the severity, the value of this column. I can do something like this. So just grab my code. Here. There you go. I can do something like this. So I'll just show you the code to see it a little fast. So I can add condition even in my style section and so on. So I can use every field from my item context, and I can write conditions and so on, and I can play with styles and so on. You have the control over the column cells, so you can pretty much do everything. So for the column border, this is the big updates for the layout. So as you can see, you can do pretty much what you want in there. The next layout we've implemented is the tile layout. So before tiles, there was a tile layout, but the tiles was made with custom CSS, not the best experience to look like the Office UI Fabric theme. So same principle here. So we added tile layout, so you can configure in the same way your card placeholders. So you have the titles, tag, preview image, and so on. And as you can see, you can also inject some handlebar expressions. The difference between the card layout and the data list layout is here you can't add some HTML markup because I didn't show you, but I will just go back to the data list. I can do something like this. I can also inject some HTML markup here. Up. So let's say I want to make this, no, not string, but strong. Here. Yeah, I can do something like this. So the HTML markup is allowed inside a column cells. But if I switch to the tile layout and I want to do the same thing for card placeholders, you cannot inject your own HTML because beyond the scene is the React control, and we can't add HTML. So if you do something like this, only the raw value of your expression will be displayed. So I can use the helpers, the handlebars helpers, no problem here. But if I do something like this, the value will be interpreted as is. So as you can see here, so you can't inject your own HTML, except those two fields where the hello HTML is checked. So in these special fields, so the location corresponds to this field and tags is here. We've added this placeholder because sometimes you have to display some custom information, for instance, taxonomy tags and so on. So this is the purpose of this field. So in this field, you can add your own HTML like you see here. You can use this markup. I will talk about this later, the term, but for now, this is the experience for the card layout. Okay, so the few other options on the cards, the result preview. So if I click here, when I go to the tile and I want to click on the image, I will have the preview automatically. So it works for documents, and it works also for videos. So, oops, not videos. Yeah. So let's say I want to display videos. I will have also the preview displayed. Okay, I go back to the option, and the latest option, I think it is, the compact mode, the same way as the data list. So if you want to display information in a smaller way. Okay, so the next one is the carousel, the slider. So the slider is basically the same I use for the PnP intranet first of its name a few years ago. The thing is, with this slider, it's compatible with touch and so on. So it's a very nice slider. I did not make it myself. This is not my own code, but library. The thing is, in the slider, you can use your own, let's say, content in the slide content. So I will dig into this in a few seconds. But before, just a couple of options here. You can control the autoplay, the pause and over, number of elements you want to group inside slides. So for instance, if I select one here, it's okay. I can control the, I want to see the dots, and I want to infinite scrolling and so on. But the thing is, as you can see, cards are displayed here, but if I want to display anything, my own content, I will have to edit this template. And yep, I will zoom in to show you. So as you can see, you have the control inside the slide component, the carousel component. So here it is the document card, but let's say I want to display just an image, for instance. So, well, not an image. I will take the persona control. We'll talk about this later, but here, it doesn't work because I don't have the rights. You know what? I will take the image. It was simple. You have also the documentation of the templating. So if you go to the SPDF solution repository, you have a templating markdown file explaining all you can see in this demo, the layout and so on. I will just grab the code snippet. I need to do this demo. Just, yep, this. If I go back here, carousel, I edit the content, and I only take the image. Yeah, okay. And as you can see, the image, only the image is displayed. So, but I can do pretty much what I want here. And I can use the handlebars, helpers, and the context variables, and so on. Just don't forget the special escape character, because where you are in the slide content, the component content, we have to escape and all handlebar expressions to get it work. So read the doc about this. I won't explain all of this now, but it's all explained in the documentation. The next layout is the people layout. So the people layout, yeah. Why it doesn't work? Okay, you know what? I will just re-add my web port. Just mess up with something, but okay. Okay, so the people layout basically is all the same. We use the persona card from Office UI Fabric, and like the tile layout, you can customize the display. So first option, simple option is the size of the personal photo, large, extra large, and so on. And I can also manage the fields. So like the tile, like the cards, I can choose what to display inside the placeholder. So the image, first name, last name. I can use either the manage property value, row value, or use an handlebar expression. So it works the same way. So let's say I want just the first name here. So as you can see, you can customize and customize the display to meet your requirements. So basically, it's an easy way to, let's say, build a directory web part on something based on search. So this is for the personal web part. The latest web part is more for developers. It's the debug web part. So the debug web part basically allows you to inspect what variables are available inside the handlebar context. So you have obviously your items, but also all the things you can use inside your template, the localization values, some context value, and also the latest one we've added in the last release, the theme properties. So for this one, I will just show you the usage of this. I will switch back to the simple list. I will just remove this because I don't need people source. Yeah. So if I go back to my simple list layout and I see the template, as you can see here, I have a special CSS class using the theme, the current theme value, the theme primary. So I can use this notation to inject my own, to use the colors and so on inside my my template. So I think I use inside the title and so on. Anyway, yeah, that's it. So it means when you do something like this, you can see it's orange now. Can change the look here. Can, let's say, teal here. So as you can see, you can control the the theme and colors and so on inside your handlebar template. So you can write your own CSS classes and so on. Okay, say thank you. Basically, these are the new layouts. I didn't talk about how we make them, but as you maybe you've seen some pretty cool markup here. Let's say I go to the document card. If I inspect this, as you can see, there are some special elements, HTML elements here. You have a document card with some attributes and so on. So the way we've built it is we used web components to make the link between handlebars and React. So I will switch to the code to explain you a little bit more how we did this. So we have a couple of components defined here, and a web component basically we can use custom elements markup to inject your component inside an HTML page, basically. So what we've done is just to write some custom HTML element components. So when you work with web components, for instance, in TypeScript, you have to extend the HTML element class. And we've built a custom way to pass some parameters to your custom elements, HTML custom elements, to React control. So we use a special notation to camel case to pass the attributes inside React component. And basically, a web component inside the solution is just a wrapper around a React component. So if I take the document card, as you can see, it's very simple. I just hook my React control inside the web component DOM node. So it's very simple, and I just inject custom element attributes as React props. So very, very simple. And this way I can write my components, React component, basic as usual. So no problem with this. So we defined a couple of components, as you can see here. So it means you can mix them in your templates. So you can use video cards, document cards based on conditions, and so on. So this is, I think, the best of both worlds to create your custom experience, search experience inside the modern search web parts. So feel free to expect the code how we did this if you want to write your own web components and make PR. I don't know. Basically, this is how we did it. So I think it covers pretty much everything. Read the documentation. So like I said, we made a templating Markdown file to help you to use these new layouts. I think there is also some pending issues, but honestly, I don't have really much time right now to resolve this. But anyway, if you have issues, go to these repositories, share your feedback, use this solution, and yeah, let me know if you have some question. I think I'm done now. Follow.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank. This was a really cool demo. And let me say the modern search controls, in my opinion, are a really great example of what community efforts can do, and also of what you can do using also the PnP reusable controls. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Frank, but under the cover, you also use the PnP React controls and property controls. Sure. So we are leveraging the community at multiple layers, I would say, at multiple levels. So really great stuff. Thank you. So let me share again my screen just for a few seconds before moving to the other demo. And I just want to be sure that everybody in this call has the correct link to get the modern search web part that you just showed us. So you have to go to the SharePoint organization under GitHub, SP Dev Solutions / modern search. And here you will find all the content that you just saw. And as a reminder, these are the property controls, reusable property controls, which you can find under GitHub, still under GitHub, as well as the React controls. Sure. Your demo about React-based Carousel web part. Feel free to steal the presentation again and have fun.
Hello, everybody. My name is João Mendes. I'm a SharePoint developer at Create IT. I will show in the Carousel web part. Okay, I will see. I have here a nice site created with provisioning service with the starter kit template. Okay. The Carousel reads any image or video that are available on the picture library. You are reading the image from the organization ISet library that I have defined. We can define the site, the library, select the library, and the number of the pictures that you want to read. Okay. Let's change this to another library that I have in another site. I have here a library that has the one folder with photos. Okay, I'm trying to change the site to read another picture library. Okay, and you can define here the number of pictures that you get. And you see the carousel. It's the moment you're reading the pictures. If you pass the mouse over the picture, the swipe is stopped. Okay. Well, here's the video. Okay. Okay. How you build this? You will go to my code here. Yes, we use the PnP JS library to get to the image. The API is the list. Okay, expanded the endpoint file to get to the attributes of the files, because I want to read all images that are in the library, not the only one folder. Okay. In the component of the carousel, you get the image, and here I get the thumbnail image URL to get the largest thumbnail that is smaller than the real size of the image and video. Here I render the video if the media is a video, and render the image if there are an image. Okay. Well, this is done of my part. Paulo.
Okay, thank you, João. Really interesting demo as well. So thank you for your contribution. And I think that's it from a demo's perspective. So let me share my screen again just for a while. Thank you again, Frank and João, for your demos. And we are almost done for this special interest group. I simply need to and want to remind you that the next special interest group for SPFx and JavaScript and client-side development will be September the 26th. And in the meantime, next week, there will be the special interest group for .NET, CSOM, and the provisioning engine, as well as PnP, PowerShell, and Flow. Quite a lot of stuff in that one as well. So, and of course, this is our marketing stuff. So learn, use, and share with PnP. And if there are any question, we can try to use the last, I would say, 10 minutes of this call to leverage the community power and share any question and try to have an answer from the whole community. Otherwise, we can just stop here. So up to you. There is a question I see from Jason. Is the Carousel code on GitHub? I guess so. João, can you put in the chat area the URL for your... Okay, thank you, David.
Yes.
You're always the faster. The fastest, actually. Yes, this is the URL. David just copied it into the chat area. So yeah, you can find the React Carousel at this URL. Any other question or doubt or anything else? Is the search web part security trimmed? Frank, that's for you.
Yeah, of course. We use the search API, so the calls are running using the user context. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Frank. Anything else? Where do the headlines from the carousel come from? Specific column in the library? João, again for you.
Yes, the text, the header and the text comes from the library. The header is the title of the image, and the text is the description associated to the image. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Let me double check in the chat area. So there is a version. No, this is just a comment. Few thank yous for you guys because you did great demos. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you for attending this community call. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next week for the CSOM and PMP PowerShell and provisioning engine call, or the week after for yet another SIG call about SPFx and JavaScript client-side development. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy developing with SPFx.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.